You wake up one morning and your knees ache. Your back is stiff. You reach for the nightstand and your hand trembles slightly. And you think, well, I guess this is just getting older. But here's what 30 years of medical research has taught me. That thought, that acceptance, is more dangerous than any disease. Because aging is not random, and it is absolutely not inevitable in the way most people believe. A 23 study from the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute tracked over 11,000 adults for 25 years. What they found rewrote our understanding of biological aging. Two people, same birth year, same country, same decade of life, and one of them is biologically 15 years older than the other. Not because of genes, not because of luck. Because of 5 daily habits so ordinary, so deeply woven into everyday life, that most people never question them. Today, I want to walk you through those 5 habits. And why do you want much time walk? 5 silent patterns that are shaving years off your life right now. And then I'm going to give you 3 things you can start tomorrow to push back. Some of what I'm about to say may make you uncomfortable. Good. Thorough. Charmier. That means it matters. Before we get into this, if you find this kind of evidence-based information valuable, consider subscribing. Every week, I break down one piece of health science into something you can actually use. No gimmicks, no products, just the truth. And quick note, everything I'm sharing is backed by published research, but please work with your healthcare provider before making changes. Your individual situation matters. Now, let's get into it. Habit number 5. The slow poison of the chair. I worry at the mice variety. Irene, a geriatrician, once told me something I've never forgotten. He said, I can tell you how long a patient has left by watching them walk through my door. He wasn't being dramatic. He wasn't being dramatic. In geriatric medicine, the way you move tells a doctor more about your future than almost any blood test. And the thing that destroys mobility faster than nearly anything else isn't a disease. A 2024 study published in the Journal of the American Heart Association followed 600 women between the ages of 6'3" and 9'9" for 8 years. They used hip-mounted accelerometers to measure exactly how much these women sat each day. The results were striking. Women who sat for 11.7 hours or more daily had a 57% higher risk of dying from any cause, regardless of whether they exercised. Even if they walked in the morning and anything would die then. Even if they did their 30 minutes of recommended activity. If they spent the rest of the day sitting, their risk stayed dangerously elevated. When you sit still for more than 30 minutes at a time, a cascade begins inside your body. Blood pools in your lower legs. Blood sugar rises because your muscles aren't pulling glucose from your bloodstream. Your brain receives less oxygen. Inflammation builds quietly in your tissues. Researchers at Columbia University confirmed this in the Annals of Internal Medicine. It's not total sitting time that kills you. It's continuous, unbroken sitting. 30 minutes without standing is the threshold where damage begins. And here's what most people get wrong. They think morning exercise cancels it out. Andrea Lacroix, a distinguished professor at UC San Diego who led this research, put it bluntly. If I take a brisk long walk for an hour but sit the rest of the day, I'm still accumulating all the negative metabolic effects. I want to tell you about Dorothy Parsons, a 74-year-old retired school librarian from Tucson. Dorothy was what her doctor called an active couch potato. She walked every morning for 45 minutes, then spent the rest of her day reading, watching television, and sitting at her computer. She was proud of her walking routine. But her blood pressure kept climbing. Her fasting glucose crept into the pre-diabetic range. Her doctor was puzzled because, on paper, she was doing everything right. Then her physician asked one question. How long do you sit between walks? Dorothy thought about it and realized she routinely sat for 3, 4, sometimes 5 hours straight without getting up. Once she started standing every 30 minutes, using a simple kitchen timer, her blood pressure dropped from 148/90 to her fasting glucose normalized. No new medications. No new exercises. Just interrupting the sitting. Just interrupting the sitting. The fix is not complicated. Stand every 30 minutes. Walk to the kitchen. Stretch your arms. Roll your ankles. 2 minutes is all it takes to reset your body. And one more thing. Walking alone doesn't protect your muscles. Walking is cardiovascular. Your muscles need resistance, something to push against. Stand up from a chair 10 times. Press your palms into a wall. Carry your own groceries. Your muscles need challenge, not just transportation. Habit number 4. The pill cascade nobody's watching. Look, I need to be careful here. It's rally chastiat. I am not telling anyone to stop taking their medication. What I am telling you is that taking too many medications without regular review may be more dangerous than the diseases they're meant to treat. This is called polypharmacy, the simultaneous use of 5 or more medications. And among adults over 75, nearly half are doing this every single day. A nationwide cohort study from South Korea, published in Scientific Reports, tracked over 3 million elderly individuals for 5 years. Those experiencing polypharmacy had a 25% higher risk of death, even after researchers adjusted for the diseases those medications were treating. Hospitalization risk jumped significantly as well. And a 2025 European study using the SHARE database found polypharmacy prevalence as high as 52% in some countries. Your cardiologist prescribes a blood pressure pill. Your endocrinologist adds a diabetes medication. Your rheumatologist contributes an anti-inflammatory. Each one solves a specific problem, but nobody is watching what all of them do together inside your body. One pill lowers your blood pressure. Another makes you dizzy. A third blurs your vision. Together, they create the perfect conditions for a fall. And a fall after 70 is not minor. It can be the beginning of a fracture, immobility, pneumonia, and irreversible decline. Many medications also quietly deplete essential nutrients. Cholesterol drugs reduce coenzyme Q10, which your heart muscles need to function. Diuretics flush potassium and magnesium. Acid blockers prevent absorption of calcium, iron, and B12. The result is fatigue, weakness, brain fog, which often leads to yet another prescription. The cycle deepens. I had a patient, Gerald Foster, 78, retired postal worker from Cleveland. Gerald was on 9 medications. 9. He came in complaining of constant fatigue, dizziness when he stood up, and what he described as feeling like his brain was wrapped in cotton. His wife said he'd lost his spark. We didn't add a 10th pill. Instead, we did a comprehensive medication review with his pharmacist. Over 3 months, working closely with each of his specialists, we eliminated 3 medications that were either duplicating effects or no longer necessary. Gerald's dizziness stopped within 2 weeks. His energy improved within a month. His wife called me crying. She said, "I got my husband back." Once a year, take every medication you're using. Prescriptions, over-the-counter drugs, supplements, everything. Put them in a bag. Bring them to your doctor or pharmacist and ask one question for each. Is this still necessary? The healthiest people I know, over 70, follow a simple principle: minimum pills, maximum lifestyle. If this information is opening your eyes, hit that like button so more people can discover these evidence-based strategies. Your click literally helps us reach the people who need this most. Okay, back to the list. Habit number 3. The hours you're stealing from your own body. Here's a number that should stop you. A 2025 meta-analysis reviewing 9 cohort studies. But here's what caught my attention. Sleeping more than 9 hours raised it by 34%. There's a sweet spot, and most people over 60 are missing it entirely. When you sleep, your body performs its most critical maintenance. Your brain activates the glymphatic system, flushing out toxic amyloid beta proteins. These are the same proteins linked to Alzheimer's disease. Your immune system produces cytokines and natural killer cells. Your blood pressure drops to give your heart 4 to 6 hours of reduced workload. Muscles rebuild. Hormones rebalance. Growth hormone pulses through your bloodstream. Cut that process short, even by one night, and the damage starts immediately. Research published in the Journal of Immunology showed that a single night of sleep deprivation altered immune cell behavior in healthy adults. In older adults whose immune systems are already showing age-related decline, the impact is far worse. Chronic sleep deprivation raises blood pressure, increases systemic inflammation, destabilizes blood sugar, and accelerates telomere shortening. Telomeres are the protective caps on your chromosomes that scientists use to measure biological aging. Sleeping less doesn't just make you feel older. It makes your cells older. Yet so many people over 60 treat sleep as optional. They stay up for television. They scroll through their phones in bed. They tell themselves they'll catch up on the weekend. But sleep debt doesn't work like money. You can't pay it back in bulk. I'll be straight with you. The fix requires discipline, not complexity. Go to bed at the same time every night, including weekends. Turn off your screen 1 hour before sleep. Keep your room cool, around 65 to 68 degrees. If you wake up and can't fall back asleep, don't reach for your phone. Lie still. Breathe slowly. Let your body remember what rest feels like. After 2 or 3 nights of consistent 7 to 8 hour sleep, most people notice sharper thinking, better mood, more energy. Sleep is not wasted time. It's the foundation everything else is built on. Habit number 2. The invisible drought inside your body. This one hides in plain sight. Most people over 60 are not drinking enough water, and they don't even know it. As you age, your thirst mechanism weakens. The part of your brain called the hypothalamus that signals I'm thirsty becomes less sensitive. You can be significantly dehydrated and feel perfectly fine. And that's what makes this so dangerous. Lung and Blood Institute published a landmark study in eBiomedicine that changed how we think about hydration and aging. They used data from the Atherosclerosis Risk and Community Study, tracking over 11,000 adults for 25 years. People whose blood showed chronic underhydration, measured by serum sodium levels above 142 millimoles per liter, they developed up to 64% more chronic diseases, including heart failure, dementia, stroke, and chronic lung disease. Those with levels above 144 had a 50% greater chance of being biologically older than their chronological age, and a 21% higher risk of dying early. The lead researcher, Dr. Natalia Dmitrieva at the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute, stated that decreased body water content is, and here's the sobering detail. Worldwide surveys find that more than 50% of people don't drink the recommended amounts of fluids. When your body lacks water, your blood thickens. Your heart has to pump harder. Your kidneys struggle to filter waste. Over time, their function declines, often without symptoms, until the damage is irreversible. Your brain, which is over 70% water, slows down. Studies show dehydrated older adults display cognitive patterns resembling people 10 years older. Your joints suffer too. Cartilage is mostly water. Without hydration, it dries out, friction increases, inflammation rises, and pain worsens. Let me tell you about Helen, a 71-year-old retired accountant from Sacramento. Helen came to her doctor complaining of persistent brain fog, joint stiffness, and afternoon fatigue. She'd been tested for thyroid problems, anemia, and early dementia. Everything came back normal. Then a routine blood panel showed her serum sodium at 143, technically within the normal range, but at the high end. Her doctor asked a simple question: how much water do you drink? Helen thought about it and realized she averaged maybe 3 glasses a day. We started her on a structured hydration protocol. 1 glass first thing in the morning, a bottle she kept within arm's reach throughout the day. Water-rich foods like cucumber and watermelon with meals. Within 2 weeks, her brain fog lifted. Within a month, her joint stiffness improved noticeably. Her follow-up blood panel showed serum sodium had dropped to 139. She told me, "I didn't realize I was walking around in a drought." The solution is straightforward. Drink a glass of water first thing in the morning. Keep a bottle within reach all day. Don't wait until you feel thirsty, because by then, you're already behind. Add lemon or cucumber if plain water doesn't appeal. Eat water-rich foods. Check your urine color. Light yellow means you're on track. Dark means drink now. The National Academy of Medicine recommends 6 to 9 cups daily for women, 8 to 12 for men. Habit number 1. The silent killer you practice every day. This is the one most people never think of as a habit. But it is. Stress is not just something that happens to you. It's something you practice through the way you respond to your life every day. Now, I want to be honest here. The research on stress isn't as clean as the research on, say, sitting or hydration. Stress is harder to measure. But the data we do have is concerning. A Finnish population study found chronic psychological distress shortened life expectancy by approximately 2.8 years. That might sound modest compared to the other numbers today, but here's what makes stress different from everything else on this list. Stress is a multiplier. When you're stressed, you eat worse, you move less, you sleep poorly, you isolate yourself. You forget to drink water. You don't bother reviewing your medications. Stress pushes you toward every other habit we've discussed. The mechanism is cortisol. In short bursts, cortisol is brilliant. It sharpens focus, raises energy, helps you respond to danger. But when cortisol stays elevated for months and years, it becomes destructive. It suppresses your immune system, raises blood sugar, increases inflammation, breaks down muscle tissue, accelerates telomere shortening, the same aging markers affected by poor sleep. A University of Southern study found that social stress, including loneliness, financial pressure, your defense system starts behaving as if it belongs to someone much older. For many seniors, stress is invisible because it's constant. It's the background hum of worry about health, money, independence being a burden. No single crisis. Just a low-grade tension that never switches off. I had a patient named Richard Kowalski, a 76-year-old widower from Pittsburgh. Richard lost his wife 2 years before I met him. He wasn't sleeping. He'd stopped cooking real meals. He'd sit in his chair for hours staring at the television without really watching it. His blood pressure was climbing. His doctor wanted to add another medication. But when we talked, it became clear the problem wasn't his heart. It was his grief, his loneliness. His stress had become so constant he couldn't distinguish it from normal life anymore. We didn't start with pills. We started with 1 phone call a day to his daughter, a 10-minute walk around his block every morning, a Tuesday lunch with 2 old friends from his bowling league. Small things. Nothing dramatic. Within 3 months, his blood pressure dropped 12 points without adding medication. He started sleeping through the night. He told me, "I didn't realize how much I'd shut down." The solution is not to eliminate stress. That's impossible. The solution is to give your nervous system permission to recover. A 10-minute walk, a real conversation with someone you trust, a hobby that absorbs your attention. Even slow, deep breathing for 2 minutes measurably lowers cortisol. You don't have to fix your life. You just have to let your body rest from fighting it, even for a few minutes a day. Now, I want to take a moment here. We've covered some serious ground today. 5 habits: sitting too long, taking too many pills without review, sleeping too little, drinking too little water, and living under constant stress. Backed by research from the National Institutes of Health, the Journal of the American Heart Association, Columbia University, and population studies tracking millions of people. But here's what I need you to hear, and you're definitely not alone. The fact that you watched this far tells me something important about you. You care about living well. You're willing to learn. And that mindset, that's the most powerful medicine there is. Now, I promised you 3 things you can start tomorrow to fight back. These aren't dramatic lifestyle overhauls. They're small, daily acts of resistance against decline. And each one addresses multiple habits on the list we just discussed. Number 1. Spread your protein across 3 meals. Include a palm-sized portion of protein at every meal: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. After 60, your body becomes less efficient at converting dietary protein into muscle. Scientists call this anabolic resistance. It means even if you eat the same amount of protein as a younger person, your body builds less muscle from it. You need 20 to 30% more just to maintain what you have. But here's the detail most people miss. Your body can't store protein the way it stores fat. If you eat all your protein at dinner, which is the most common pattern, your body can only use a fraction of it. The rest is wasted. But research shows that spreading protein evenly across 3 meals improves muscle synthesis by 20 to 30%. Tomorrow morning, add 2 eggs or a cup of Greek yogurt or a handful of walnuts. At lunch, add chicken, fish, or a serving of tofu. At dinner, keep doing what you're doing. The change isn't in the total amount. It's in the timing. Number 2. Stand every 30 minutes. This directly counters habit number 5. Every 30 minutes, stand up. Walk a few steps. Stretch. Sit back down. A Brazilian study followed over 300 older adults for 5 years. They found that replaying not running, not weights, just standing and moving. And replacing 60 minutes brought the risk down by 78%. Tie it to things you already do. Stand during TV commercials. Stand when you take a phone call. Walk to the kitchen when you refill your water, which, by the way, also addresses hydration. 2 habits solved with 1 trip to the sink. Number 3, the 10-minute reset before bed. This is my favorite because it quietly addresses 4 of the 5 habits in one simple routine. About an hour before bed, do 3 things. Always the same 3, in the same order. First, drink 1 full glass of water. Not because you're thirsty. You probably aren't, and that's exactly the problem. After 70, your brain stops sending the thirst signal reliably. This single glass helps your kidneys work through the hours when you're not drinking. It keeps your blood from thickening while you sleep. That's dehydration handled. That's dehydration handled. Second, look at tomorrow's medications. Open the pill case. Check each one. Ask yourself, do I know what this is for? When was the last time my doctor reviewed it? If you can't answer both, write it down and bring it to your next appointment. This 5-second review has helped patients I know eliminate 2 or 3 unnecessary prescriptions over time. That's polypharmacy, addressed. Third, put your phone in another room, not on silent, not face down on the nightstand, in another room entirely. The blue light from your screen suppresses melatonin, the hormone your body needs to fall asleep naturally. But beyond the light, The phone keeps your mind running. News, messages, worry. Your brain can't shift into rest while it's still processing new information. Removing the phone protects your sleep. That's habit 3. And it lowers the late-night anxiety that keeps cortisol elevated. That's habit 1. Stress handled. 3 actions. Less than 10 minutes combined. Water, medication check, phone away. It touches dehydration, polypharmacy, sleep deprivation, and chronic stress in one quiet routine. Remember Dorothy from Tucson? The retired librarian who sat for hours without standing? I heard from her 8 months after she started the standing routine and the evening reset. She sent me a photo of herself at the Grand Canyon with her 2 grandchildren. She wrote, "I'm not the same woman who could barely keep her blood pressure down. I'm hiking now. Hiking at 75. That's not a miracle. That's what happens when you give your body what it needs. My krutim famewers manjoy brunis." And that can be your story too. You don't need to do everything we talked about today. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to start. Pick one thing. Maybe it's the standing timer. Maybe it's the bedtime glass of water. Maybe it's that medication review you've been putting off. Whatever feels doable. Try it for 7 days. See how you feel. Then come back and tell me about it. Because here's what I've learned after all these years. The people who age well aren't the ones with perfect genetics or unlimited money. They're the ones who show up, who keep learning, who take one small step at a time. That's you. You showed up today. Drop a comment telling us your age and which of these 3 habits you're going to try first. Be specific. I'm adding walnuts to breakfast. I'm setting my 30-minute timer. I'm putting my phone in the other room. When you write it down, you're more likely to do it. And your comment might inspire someone else who's watching right now. Next week, we're diving into something 70% of adults over 60 get wrong about their morning routine. One small change that research shows can improve your energy, your mood, and your blood pressure before you even leave the house. You won't want to miss it. You won't want to miss it. If you want to catch that one, tap subscribe and the bell. That way you'll know exactly when it drops. I want to leave you with something that stays with me. There's an ongoing study at Scripps Research in California. Individuals who reach their 80s and 90s with no major chronic disease, no cognitive decline, full independence. What he found surprised everyone. These people don't share a single unique gene. There's no longevity gene that sets them apart. What they share are patterns of how they lived, not how they were born. They moved throughout their day. They ate simply but consistently. They slept well. They stayed connected to other people. And they paid attention to their bodies, not with obsession, with quiet, daily respect. The 5 habits I shared with you today aren't a death sentence. They're a mirror. And the 3 habits I offered aren't a cure. They're a direction. You don't have to change everything. You just have to change something. And the best time to start isn't next Monday. It's tonight. When you put your phone in the other room and drink a glass of water before bed. Because the goal was never to live forever. The goal was to live well. Take care of yourself. You deserve it. I'll see you in the next one.